Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. Tonight, December 19th, Tuesday evening, we're here hanging out talking waiver wire. It's the final 4 weeks, so hopefully you guys have made it this far. I'm sure you guys played a handful of leagues and you got at least one team in the mix here, but we'll hop into it and we'll go live for maybe the next 30 or 40 minutes, probably not a full hour tonight. But welcome in, get your questions in the chat room, and we'll hop into screen shares and we'll kind of just look at some things together. Again, hope you guys are all doing well this evening. Alejandro coming in with the quick questions here. He's got Josh Allen and Tua QB, CMC, Rashad White, Hall RB. Receivers are Debo, Devontae, DJ Moore, Puka, Mari. I need one QB, two running backs, two receiver, and a flex. So the start sit question here, I think you got to go with Josh Allen going up against the LA Chargers. That seems to be like one of the best matchups that we can target right now. And in terms of fantasy points allowed, Chargers have just been one of the worst teams defensively all season long. And you can see here against QBs, they rank 28. So I'm going to lock in Josh Allen. I do like Tua, but it's a tougher matchup against Dallas. So we're going to lock in Allen. The two running backs, you're going CMC, you're going Rashad White. The two receivers, you're going Debo. And then I think I'm going to keep DJ Moore in there going up against Arizona. And then the final flex, it's between Devontae, Breece Hall, Puka. I really like Breece Hall against the Commanders, but I think I'm probably going to stick with Devontae Adams here. Puka has been nice. He's got a decent matchup against the Saints. Amari Cooper's been nice here, but I think I'm going to stick with Devontae Adams here. And hey, we got the Fellowship League. I did pull that up. We got a handful of good players in the Final Four. I just want to look at that real quick and see who's in the Fellowship League Final Four. We have, I think Chase is in there. Chase, the number 1 seed, fresh off a bye. He's going to get my good friend Matt Boehm, and then I'm going to be here as the 3 seed, taking on the number 2 seed, Team Jellybean. So congrats if you guys made it to the Final Four. Inceptivus. Oh, okay. I need help with defenses this week. In what order would you rank these defenses? Jets, Commanders, Browns, Chiefs, Packers, Seahawks, and Bears. So my favorite way to look at defenses is using the DraftKings Game Lines tool. And when you filter by team total, this is basically predicting how many points each team's going to score. So I know I've been using the Saints a lot all year. I'm not using the Saints on Thursday night against the Rams. So I need to pick up some defenses this week. I want to trust Denver. They got embarrassed against the Lions the other night. I think the Broncos are a good play, but I didn't see them on your list here. I'm not trusting the Washington Commanders. I don't think I want to. They're not going to be a high-scoring team themselves, and they're getting the Jets offense, which I know is not great either. But I don't think there's any reason to trust the Washington Commanders. This game's in New York as well, so I'm going to cross them off the list. I'd rather play the Jets over the Commanders. We know the Commanders give up sacks, and they are turnover prone at QB. So Jets are interesting. Commanders, no. The Browns, Cleveland's interesting. They're going to get the Houston Texans. I think we're going to probably see CJ Stroud activated from the IR protocol or from the concussion protocol, but I'm not sure quite on that one. It's in Houston, so that does make me a little bit nervous. I think the team that I trust, and that's going to be kind of the theme in a lot of the answers that I have for this week and maybe even next week as well. It's which team do I trust? I trust the Kansas City Chiefs defense. I think this is probably my favorite defense that you're looking at here. I know they're playing the Raiders who are playing, pretty well, but I think the Chiefs defense I definitely trust. The Packers defense, I want to trust them. They just got torched by Baker Mayfield in Lambeau, so that makes me pause a little bit. Now, we don't expect the Carolina Panthers to score a lot of points. You can see they're only projected to score about 15.75. So I'm thinking Chiefs and the Packers are some of my favorites. The Jets might be number 3. Seattle Seahawks going up against the Tennessee Titans. They played well last night. I'm not sure if I trust them. It depends on who the quarterback is. I don't know if it's going to be Will Levis or not, but I would probably rank the Seahawks. I would probably go Chiefs, Packers, Jets, Browns, and then you have the Chicago Bears who are playing pretty well right now. They weren't able to win last week against the Arizona Cardinals, but I like where they have been going. They're going to get the Cardinals here at home. Cardinals supposed to put up about 20 points. So let me just kind of reorganize this all for you. I think I'm going Chiefs, Packers as my top 2, Jets number 3. I'll go Browns 4. I'll go Seahawks 5, Bears 6, Commanders last. And we can have up to 3 defenses Okay, yeah. So I mean, I would probably look at this list and I would go Kansas City, Green Bay as the top two, and hey, if you can get the Jets, I think that'd be my third choice. And good evening to Harris. Hope you're doing well. Bets Bears, Jets, or Chiefs D this weekend. I'm kind of trusting the Chiefs. The Raiders are coming off a high. This one's in Kansas City. Kansas City, they were able to get a good win on the road in New England last weekend. They need to continue to win and stay ahead in the AFC West here. So I'm leaning the Chiefs. I don't hate the Jets at home against the Commanders. We know they have a good defense that kind of got lit up against the Dolphins last week, but the Washington Commanders, a little bit different animal. And then I do like the Bears at home, but I think I'm sticking with the Chiefs. And can we drop Keaton Mitchell in Dynasty? A season-ending knee injury is going to put him out to start the season in 2024. He's probably going to be on IR to start the year. If you can find a way to stash him on IR, I would do so. But if you need to make room for incoming draft picks or things like that, I think you can let him go. He's an undrafted free agent running back. They're probably going to end up drafting or bringing in more running backs next year. So I don't know what's going on with Keaton Mitchell in 2024. I guess if you needed to make the room, I'm not afraid to let him go. How are we feeling about Hall and the Jets against the Commanders this weekend? So we don't know who the QB is going to be quite yet. I think they're leaving hope for Zach Wilson here. I think if you're starting Breece Hall, I think you kind of want Zach Wilson, even though it looked really bad last weekend. I think Zach Wilson at least supplies some offensive help for Breece and for Garrett Wilson. And if it is Zach Wilson, I'm feeling good about. I am feeling good about Breece Hall. I know he didn't play well, but really none of the guys on the Jets played well last weekend. And the Commanders, they're allowing quite a bit of fantasy points to the running back right now, almost about 25 points per game here. So we could, without a touchdown, Breece is probably looking at those double digits with the targets and whatnot. So I'm not quite ranking him as a running back one in week 16, but I think he's a really solid RB2. Yeah, if you can try and find a way to hold on to Keaton Mitchell, I would do so. But I understand, with rookie drafts and maybe having to make some moves to free up some roster spots, I get it. Good evening to Jerry. Hope you're doing well. Is Dallas D still worth a hold? I have Packers and Jags for week 16 and 17. They're playing Carolina. I mean, you're probably not starting Dallas at Miami this weekend, and I think at this point we're not going to probably trust them when they host the Detroit Lions in week 17. So, there's a chance someone picks them up and plays them either this week or week 17. And, it's a good game. It could be a good game, but I think for you, if you need the roster spot, I'm fine with letting them go, especially if you have your bases covered for the next 2 weeks. So not an essential hold, Dallas defense right now. Dolphins or Bills defense this weekend. Not the Dolphins. Definitely not the Dolphins. It's not close. We're going the Buffalo Bills here. Buffalo Bills lock down Dallas. They're on a mission, playing good football. They're playing the Chargers, Easton Stick. I'm not really too concerned about that offense putting up a ton of points. So to me, it's pretty easy. I'm going Buffalo Bills here. And hey, good evening to Ryan. Jerry says, currently have Drake London after losing Chase. Would you play London or grab Boyd, Pickens, Wicks, or Palmer, then start one of them over London? Let's look at Drake London's matchup this weekend. And I'm not sure. Who does Atlanta play? I believe it's a tougher matchup on paper. They're going to get the Colts. It's not a terrible matchup. For some reason, the Colts are a little bit stickier. But you also have Taylor Heineke coming in, and I think Heineke's okay as a passer. I think he can float, a receiver and a tight end or two. So I'm probably going to stick with Drake London here. I mean, Tyler Boyd is interesting. I'm probably not even interested in George Pickens. I have a slight interest in Dontavian Wicks, but for some reason, the Carolina Panthers defense is nuts. Like, they're one of the better teams defending all positions except running back. So you also have Christian Watson maybe back. But if you told me no Jaden Reed and no Christian Watson, then I might go Dontavian Wicks in that one. And then as far as Josh Palmer goes, I mean, you're trying to catch lightning in a bottle there. If you didn't have a 79-yard touchdown, we're probably not looking at Josh Palmer. So I'm probably sticking with Drake London here and hoping that Taylor Heineke can rifle off enough passes. And Atlanta's, fighting for their lives right now, so they might have to be a little bit more anxious than throw the ball. So I'm going to stick with London here, Jerry. Jets, Commanders, Bills, Broncos, Bears defense. It's Bills. Next, I would probably go Broncos. And then I would go Jets, Bears, Commanders. So Bills is the easy one for me this weekend. The Chargers only supposed to put up about 16 points. Easton Stick, we saw the life sucked out of this team last weekend. It is in LA, but Buffalo is playing some of the best football right now in the AFC. So I'm starting Buffalo if I have them. Jerry says he currently has Warren as an RB stash, but Gus Edwards and Justice Hill are on the wire. Would you stash either and drop Warren? I would hold on to Jalen Warren. I thought I saw, and I might be wrong in this, but I'm pretty sure I saw Najee Harris miss practice today, which is interesting. If Najee Harris were to miss the game, I think we're all excited to play Jalen Warren in our fantasy lineups, because if he gets the whole backfield to himself, that's where it's going to be pretty good. So I'm probably not dropping Jalen Warren right now. I know they're going to Mason Rudolph, which is not exciting, but we have to monitor this Najee Harris information. If you can drop somebody else, I would do so. And then personally, I'd rather have Gus Edwards over Justice Hill. We know Gus Edwards is the touchdown guy, but it's a really tough matchup. And if it came down to it, I'd rather play Jalen Warren over Gus Edwards this weekend anyways. And that's probably even if Najee Harris does play. Do we like Chris Olave this week? Let's look at that matchup for Olave. They're playing the Rams. The Rams are one of the better defenses right now, but they're kind of average against wide receivers. So overall, I'm not afraid of this matchup here. I think I'm probably going to rank Olave as like a fringe wide receiver 2 or 3, kind of like a top 20-ish wide receiver here. And he had the extra week off. He should be fresh. And Derek Carr's coming off a decent game here. So I do like Olave, just not in love with Olave this week. Do you like Monty over White or Kieran this week? Even Rice too. I think at this point, I think you're locked in with Rachaad White. He has been one of the best backs in the last 2 months of football. Tampa Bay, let me check here. They're playing Jacksonville, and Jacksonville's defense is just not great right now. They rank 18th against the running back here, but man, the way Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers are playing right now, they have momentum. It's at home. Jacksonville's defense is not great. I'm playing Rachaad White for sure. And then with Kieran Williams, I think you got to keep Kieran Williams in there just based on volume, and touchdowns seem to just be rolling into Kieran Williams's into stat line. So I think I'm sticking with White and Kieran over Monty. I do like David Montgomery this weekend. They're playing the Vikings, a little bit stiffer, and I think you also have Jahmyr Gibbs kind of staking the backfield right now. So I'm sticking with White and Kieran. I do like Rashee Rice a little bit. I would probably still go White and Kieran over Rashee Rice, but I would go Rashee probably over Monty right now. Need to sit one running back, Gibbs, White, or Walker. Gibbs, White, or Walker. I don't think you can sit Gibbs or White right now. I'm going to stick with those two guys. I know Kenneth Walker balled out the other night here, but I'm going to stick with Gibbs and White. And the two receivers, Amari Cooper, Garrett Wilson, and Cortland Sutton, Marquise Brown. I don't trust Marquise Brown at all. He's been, I think he's got 2 zeros in the last 2 games with that heel injury. I'm not messing with that right now. You probably got to stick with Cortland Sutton. He's been catching touchdowns and making big plays. The Broncos, they're going to get the New England Patriots. I'm not afraid of that matchup. The Patriots do allow a decent amount of wide receiver points. It's in Denver as well. So I'm going with Cortland Sutton here. Garrett Wilson's interesting. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but man, it might not matter who the quarterback is. I think playing matchups makes a lot of sense with Garrett Wilson. And we also know that the Cleveland Browns, who gets the Cleveland Browns this week? The Browns are going to get the Houston Texans. Texans have been sticky against opponent wide receivers all season. You have Joe Flacco playing well. I'm leaning. I kind of want to get Amari Cooper in the lineup, but my head's saying to go Garrett Wilson, and we'll see if the Jets can rebound here. So I'm going to say Sutton and Garrett Wilson. On the defensive question, I have Packers to start this week. Colts and the Bears are available. Who would you pivot to? I'm going to stick with the Packers this weekend. I know they kind of crapped the bed last weekend against Tampa Bay, but the Panthers just don't score points. I think the Packers are still hoping to make the playoffs, so there should be some fight in them, and maybe they get some players back on defense. So I'm still going to roll with the Packers. I think if I had to choose one, I would maybe look at the Bears as my second option, Colts as the third option, but I'm going to stick with Green Bay defense here. Are you picking up Palmer in non-PPR? Probably not. Keenan Allen's probably going to play this weekend. I saw a report that he was practicing, then he wasn't practicing. If you told me Keenan Allen's not going to play, maybe I'm interested in it. But I at this point, I don't know if I'm comfortable putting Josh Palmer in my lineup. I mean, he had a wide open touchdown the other night. If he doesn't get that, he's not having a great night. So probably not. You're banking on touchdown passes from Easton Stick, which I don't know if makes sense. So non PPR, I don't think I am interested. It might be T. Higgins season, man. We need him to be more involved, earning targets and getting, 5, 6, 7 catches per game. But hey, Jake Browning seems to be like throwing him the ball near the end zone. So that's cool with me. Assuming Jamar Chase is out for the next at least 2 games here, gets us in the fantasy Final Four and the championship. We get 2 big games with T. Higgins. I think it's Higgins season. I'm nervous about starting the Chiefs defense this week. The last time they played the Raiders, they barely gave me any points. Yeah, I remember that game now. I trust the Chiefs defense to play well. They've been a good defense all year long. The Raiders again are coming off a pretty big high. I think they're going to be able to play well. If you're nervous about the Chiefs, we looked at some of the other options here. Maybe it's Green Bay, maybe it's Denver. But I think I trust the Chiefs at home in this one. I think it'll be different. Chiefs are still a top 5 play this week. You can pick up Justice Hill, but I'm not starting Justice Hill. I think he's, you can burn him on your bench for a little bit, but I don't know like if I'm going to be comfortable playing Justice Hill. They're playing the 49ers this weekend, so not interested in that. You can maybe pick him up and see about next week. But even if you get to week 17, like, are we going to trust Justice Hill in our starting lineup? Probably not. So I'm not super into Justice Hill. It's officially Final Four week, so hope you're doing well, Justin. Broncos or Lions defense? I'm going to go Broncos defense just because they've been playing, pretty good the last month and a half. I know last Saturday night they got clocked by Detroit, but I'm willing to let that kind of be an outlier game. They're at home against the New England Patriots, who they just don't have it on offense. Broncos are 6.5 point favorites. Patriots aren't even supposed to score 14 points. So I'm going to go with the Broncos here. And Minnesota, they still got some spunk on offense. And teams can pass and kind of throw the ball on Detroit here. So maybe Nick Mullins and JJ and Addison and Hawkinson can still make a game of it. It's also in Minnesota too. So I'm going to go Broncos. Parker Washington or Chase Brown to pick up. I'm going Chase Brown here. Parker Washington's, like, we're not really doing anything with Parker Washington. I think Chase Brown's more valuable as a handcuff right now. Honestly, he's kind of like a low-end RB2 flex if you were, in a 0 RB build, but I think Chase Brown holds more value. Start one, Minshew or Kyler? Man, I'm pretty concerned with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. They're traveling to Chicago right now. I kind of like what Minshew's been doing, but if Michael Pittman Jr. doesn't play, I'm not really interested in Minshew. So I think right now the answer as of today is probably Kyler Murray. Waller or Dallas Goedert? I think it's Dallas Goedert, or I think it's Darren Waller. He came out and got 8 points last week, which was impressive. That he played more than I thought he would. He's also playing the Philadelphia Eagles in this one on Monday Night Football, or I think it's a Monday game. And the Eagles do give up tight end points, about 12.5 per game, whereas the Eagles, they're playing the Giants, so you're starting a guy in that game either way. But the Giants are kind of sticky against tight end, not allowing more than 10 or just under 10 points per game in the tight end position. So I'm going to go Darren Waller. Oh, my God, Bijan Robinson. I don't know. For some reason, the Indianapolis Colts, they're allowing a lot of running back points here. I would like to think that Bijan Robinson is going to get back in the mix here. They lost an embarrassing game here to the Panthers, and they didn't really get him going at all. So maybe he's a focal point in here. I think you plug him in and basically just say, he's had a couple bad games all year. I trust him to be good when he gets the ball. I think I'm going to lean with, in the new QB. I think it helps. I'm going to continue plugging away here. I don't know about Josh Jacobs quite yet. I didn't really read and see anything on the Raiders this week. So I think it's Tuesday night, so we're not going to get any practice reports unless they play on, Thursday night. So inconclusive. I think with the Raiders winning last week and somewhat staying alive in the playoff race, maybe we see Josh Jacobs come back here. But overall, I'm not quite sure quite yet. Higgins over either JJ, Hill, or Rice, or keep that trio. You can maybe convince me to get Higgins in there over Rashi Rice, but I think I'm sticking with the three you got, JJ, Hill, and Rice. Even though Jamar Chase is not in, and we've seen touchdowns coming for T. Higgins, he really hasn't been a good volume play. I think you take the floors of JJ, Hill, and Rice here. I don't feel great about it. And we just saw what the Buffalo Bills did. They didn't really want to test them throwing the ball. They came in and ran the ball down their throats. I think Tua could be okay, but I don't think he's like a top 10 must start QB this weekend. I think he's more of a fringe QB1. So I'm a little bit iffy on him. The Michael Pittman Jr. hit looked really bad. I think, again, just with concussions this year, when your player gets a concussion, I think you have to assume that he's going to miss at least that next game. So I'm assuming Michael Pittman's on the doubtful side of things this week. But I could be surprised. I'm willing to be surprised. They played on Saturday, so he gets an extra day to get healthy, maybe. But I would assume tomorrow on Wednesday when we get that practice report, he's probably not going to be listed as a participant. Start to keep CH and drop Finn's defense. Yeah, you can drop Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They've already come out and said that Isaiah Pacheco's in this week. So, that means Clyde Edwards-Helaire is just purely a bench stash. So you can let him go. And I think you can drop the Miami Dolphins defense as well. I don't remember who do the Dolphins play week 17. The Dolphins are going to get Baltimore. Yeah, I'm done with the Dolphins defense. I know they lit it up the last couple games for us. And hey, we identified this stretch here of the Dolphins defense as a run that we wanted to just leave them in our lineups every week. But I think against Dallas and Baltimore, I'm not willing to mess with those teams. We like Rams versus Saints, especially Puka. Right. I mean, I think Cooper Kupp is kind of the alpha again at the moment right now. He seems to be the guy that's gobbling up all the numbers. The Saints defense, it's still pretty good against opponent wide receivers here. So it's by no means a great matchup here. I'm seeing about 26.5 points allowed to the wide receiver position by the Saints. So it's probably, for me, like if I have Puka, I'm probably bracing for a floor game and hoping that the touchdowns swing to his side this game. So I think it's probably like a wide receiver 3 game for Puka, getting your 4 to 5 catches for 50, 60 yards, somewhere in that range here. So not the best Puka matchup this week. Would you rather start Barkley, Chuba, and Jacobs over Bijan? We don't quite know about Jacobs right now. If Jacobs does play, I'm probably playing him over Bijan. And I think right now Chuba Hubbard, the way he's been playing, he's locked into a ton of touches, and the way Green Bay's defense has been playing, it's not a bad opportunity to play Chuba Hubbard. Let's just see here. I mean, Chuba's been 3 straight games over 20 touches. I think I'm willing to play that over Bijan here. So I would rank them probably as Saquon, Chuba, Jacobs, Bijan, number 4, which sounds weird. I'm going to go Broncos here over Chicago Bears. I still have trouble trusting the Chicago Bears. I think they've been playing a lot better lately, and they might be someone that you have to stream if other defenses are taken up here. But man, they've been playing 3 good games in a row here. They've been getting tons of turnovers. I mean, look at the interceptions: 3, 2, 4, and 3. They're getting the Cardinals this week, and then they get the Falcons next weekend. I'm open to the Chicago Bears, but I think I'm going to lean with the Denver Broncos here against the New England Patriots. Worried about Pierce and Dynasty. I don't know what to do with him. I'm assuming that is Dameon Pierce. There's a strong concern here on Dameon Pierce. I don't know if he's going to be anything anymore. I think they have to re-sign Devin Singletary, so we'll watch for that come the offseason. But I think right now it certainly looks like Dameon Pierce has kind of lost his starting job. And starting in 2024, he's not guaranteed to be anything more than a backup right now. Do you think CJ Stroud will come back next week? If he doesn't come back, would you start the Browns D over the Chiefs D? The Browns have been consistent as of late. If you told me CJ Stroud's not playing, I like the Browns defense this weekend. They did get to Justin Fields, 3 sacks, a couple interceptions, a forced fumble. They're still one of the best defenses in the league. And hey, they play the Houston Texans and the New York Jets week 16 and 17. So if I don't know yet. I think what I've heard today was he was still in the concussion protocol, so I'm not quite sure yet. I'm hoping tomorrow we'll get a better update on where CJ Stroud is. The fact that they won a game without him should be, some confidence where they don't need to get him out there if he's not ready. But I would say he's probably playing. And even then, I'm not opposed to playing the Browns defense. We're talking about a rookie quarterback coming off of a concussion. I know he's been lights out, but I'm open to it. I think I'm still going to lean Chiefs D, but I'm open to it, especially if no Stroud. Do you like Mixon this week over Warren? Yeah, I think you got to play Joe Mixon right now. Just especially down Jamar Chase. I think that puts Joe Mixon as one of the safest. He's one of the safest running backs that you can start this week. I think he's a top 10 lock, and he's been getting touchdowns since Jake Browning came around, man. He's gotten 4 touchdowns. He didn't run the ball a lot last weekend as much as he had before, but against Pittsburgh, I think that's going to be a game where they're able to stay in it and run the ball and not play from behind. And hey, good evening to Charlene. Hope you're doing well. Should I pick up Chris Godwin and drop Deontay Johnson or Drake London? Interesting. Chris Godwin came out of nowhere. He really hasn't been playing well all season. I think if I'm starting a guy this week, I'm probably going to go with Chris Godwin. I'm not excited about Deontay Johnson with Mason Rudolph, and I think Drake London's just a fine wide receiver 3. They're all kind of in the same tier, though, so it feels like we're just flipping a coin and seeing what happens. But I do think the Bucs might have found something here, and Baker Mayfield playing hot, Rachaad White, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, all these guys are playing at the highest level they've played at all year together. So, yeah, I think I'm going for Chris Godwin, and I guess if I'm dropping one of these guys, probably Drake London. But again, all these guys are pretty much in the same tier here. It just feels like, we're kind of just rotating towards the hot hand in Chris Godwin right now. But keep the questions coming in, guys. I do want to see if there's any news or practice reports that I need to make sure I pull up for you guys, especially, and I know it's week 16. There's probably not too much waiver wire questions going on for us. And we will be going live tomorrow night, guys. So we'll hopefully get a full day of practice reports and alerts. Chris Olave expected to play on Thursday Night Football. Keenan Allen does not practice today. Jamar Chase, he ain't playing this weekend. And then you did get the Taylor Heineke news. So it's Tuesday. It's hard to get a lot of news out today. But that's where we're at right now. If no one else has any other questions, I'll get out of here in a couple minutes, but I'll hold on for a few more here to see if you guys got any more questions coming through. As far as people that I'm thinking need to be picked up right now, I think Gus Edwards is a guy that needs to be picked up this week. It's not a great matchup for Gus Edwards, like at all, going up against the 49ers here, but Gus Edwards, maybe week 17 going up against the Miami Dolphins. That could be a nice spot here. You're kind of banking on him falling into the end zone against the 49ers. But if Gus Edwards is available, he's probably a priority this week for me. Anybody else that I want to make sure I pick up here? Maybe Deonta Foreman. I know Deonta Foreman didn't play well last week here. He had -6 rushing yards against the Browns, but he's getting Arizona week 16, which is a pretty nice matchup here. Chase Brown still a stash. We'll see about a couple other guys here. Ty Chandler, I know he's got the bright red number 1 against him with the Detroit Lions matchup this weekend, but I thought he looked really good. 23 for 132. He can catch the ball. I mean, I think right now his floor is probably this 12 for 35 and 3 for 7. So I'm probably starting Ty Chandler this week, assuming Alexander Madison's not going to go. I didn't see anything on Alexander Madison today, but he's got a high ankle sprain. I would assume he's not going. So if no Madison, I'm thinking Ty Chandler needs to be scooped and played. But anyways, guys, I'm going to get out of here for the evening. We'll be going live tomorrow night, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. We'll hang out for the full hour tomorrow night, guys. So come with any questions you may have. Let me see if I can find anything else here. Chicago or the Browns? I think I trust the Bears right now. The Bears are just playing at a high level, turning the ball over. Kyler Murray doesn't really have a lot of help other than Trey McBride. I don't expect the Cardinals to be able to run the ball right now. The Bears are playing good on that side of the ball. So I'm going to lean Chicago here. If no CJ Stroud, though, I'll go with the Browns. There's a small chance Keenan plays. I think I thought I read that he was like working on the sideline today, so there might be Keenan Allen availability this weekend. Still not quite sure on it yet, but I would brace for no Michael Pittman Jr. in this one. Unfortunately, anytime you get a concussion, I think you got to probably assume that he's going to miss a game. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for tonight's show. Again, we'll be live tomorrow night, Wednesday. I think tomorrow night we'll have more information and answers to get you guys set with your starting lineups. But either way, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Peace.